out here for another round of Torques, and last time I ran Torques, it was not very pretty. Had to quit on the third lap, so we're gonna finish today. We're gonna be competitive, it's gonna be fun. I'm out here on a two-stroke for the first time. My son didn't want to ride today, so I decided to ride his bike. He's on a Husqvarna TE 150. Let's get out there and do practice and then go hit the start line. All right, here we are on the line. I've only practiced starts on this bike twice. We need a good start here. Oh, and the bike fires right up. We get a great start. But we didn't pinch off the first corner. If I'd known he was coming like that, I would have shut the door. But he flamed out pretty quickly after that corner. And then here comes Chad with his yellow plates, taking over first place. All right, so we're basically second into the woods, which is really good. We gotta go through scoring here real quick. Oh, I left the door wide open on the inside of that turn. I think Matt's right behind me, but he did not take it. Some pretty deep sand ruts there. So as you heard in the intro, I am racing in 30B in this race, and this is the first time I'm racing 30B, and I just wanted to get a good start, kind of show these guys how we can do good starts. Normally I race in 40C, but now I'm leading them. I'm not leading them, I'm in second place. I'm in the woods. And from one thing that I've learned from being out in front before is I'm definitely not in a hurry right now. Because the last time I was out in front, I basically, I got caught by that tree there. But guess what? They can't pass me. So the last time I was out in front in a TX2 race, I overrode the bike. I was really pushing hard into the corners. You get this like adrenaline rush and you just feel like you have to stay out in front. You have to be faster than everyone. Well, I thought about it after that race, and really, you don't have to be faster than everyone. You just have to do enough to stay out in front of them. And since this race has such a tight single track mostly, it's really hard to get past. So I'm just going my speed, trying to keep the bike on two wheels. Now we're coming up on the hard line here. All right, so you see the easy split is off to the left, hard is up the hill. I did this once in the practice, as you saw in the intro, and I barely made it. So if I was in the top 3, I was gonna do it again. You'll hear John, my friend, screaming at me as we pass him. All right, let's get up here. Oh, kind of a rough landing there at the top. And I just passed Chad to get in first place. So now I'm leading everybody. He must have taken the easy line. Easy line is a real big penalty on this course. It was about 30, 45 seconds. Oh, but then I give it up right there. There's like a little pro line on the inside that I didn't see during practice, and Matt took it. There I am wandering off to the right in the weeds, and then I get passed by Chad and Brandon again, so now I'm back into fourth. But Matt runs out of gas right there on the right. I think he was out of gas or something. I click up into fourth here, and I think Brandon ahead of me is also on a 150, and he's up in fifth gear. If I was on my 250F, maybe could have caught up to him, but on this bike, no shot. Gonna open it up again once right here before we go back into the woods. I think that was just third gear pinned. So I know I'm probably going to get a lot of comments. I don't know where this guy came from. I know I'm probably going to get a lot of comments. Hey Chris, you're riding this thing like a 4-stroke. Well, there's a reason for that. I started riding in my mid-40s and I've only ridden 4 strokes. Yeah, that was a tough one. Normally I don't have problems with logs that small, but that thing has no bark on it and it's off at an angle and your landing is in a sand rut. And it just, I think I hit it probably 3 out of 5 laps perfectly. But back to the 4-stroke versus 2-stroke thing. I'm very used to riding like a 4-stroke, and I know you're supposed to keep the revs up and use the clutch more in the corners in a 2-stroke, but I'm just definitely not used to doing that. One thing I did like though on this course, riding in the woods, was no engine braking. So you could kind of like blip the throttle with no penalty here, which was nice. I know I need to stay on the throttle more. Got a nice double sand rut coming up here into this corner. Let's see how we do on it. That was nice. I didn't have any problems with that particular rut all day. So as I was saying, I was scheduled to race 40C. I actually entered to race 40C, and then I go back to where our trucks are parked, and a couple friends started trying to encourage me to race 30C. And I went to see how many people were entered in both classes. It was about the same, and knowing that my chances of podium are pretty small, I just switched to 30C to race with these guys. Now I'm in 3rd place. So we're like halfway through a lap and I'm in 3rd place, which is actually really good. I don't think I've ever been in podium position this deep into a race before. I'll just shut up for a second to let you hear that 2-stroke sing. I think I was up in the 4th gear there, and then we're gonna have a little road jump here, which is 3rd gear, almost pin. Well, it would have been if I hadn't wimped out and let off the throttle there. All right, so now a little grass track section. Let's see if we can get some traction and hold this position. Definitely need to have good lines with this bike. Torque isn't nearly as nice as the 2-stroke or the 4-stroke that I'm used to, so gotta really focus on opening up the corners, picking good lines here. Oh, nice braking, Chris. I could definitely hear 2 guys behind me though, or what I think is 2 guys. I think it's a 2-stroke and a 4-stroke. So I know I'm holding 3rd, but like, there's sharks in the water here. Oh no! Oh man! Back into 5th, just like that. I executed that whole section so well, and then just overshot that corner. And then not only did I lose 2 places, but I have to go through these guys' dust in this section too.
In the dust too.
That was heartbreaking right there. It would have been so nice to finish lap 1 in 3rd place. trying to stay aggressive here, but we're back in the trees, and I'm a little more nervous in this type of terrain. Trying to roll onto the throttle before the corner start, weight the outside peg just like I've trained. Look at this. He stalled. So back into 4th place. Now I got Brad surely ahead of me. I think he's on a 350. I mean, and he's pretty fast on it too. It's going to be hard to catch him. So some people were comparing this race course to the... That was funny. So I took my hand off the bar to wipe the GoPro off, and then I realized, oh crap, I'm not gonna make it to that inside line there, and I got the tire stuck in the outside rut. I just completely botched the whole thing. It's hard to see with these shadows, but some of these ruts are a little bit deep. Now, people were comparing this race to the race we had last month, which was the back 500, and it was crusty, sandy, and had pretty much a one-line rut throughout the whole, almost the whole course. And I thought this course was a lot more fun. Conditions were just a lot more forgiving. Now, there were ruts here in the sand, but the ruts were a lot wider. Your margin for error was a lot greater. Like, you didn't have to, like... Basically, the last month, you felt like the rut was the size of the width of your front tire, and if you didn't make it in that, you were going to get cross-rutted. Just, it wasn't going to be fun. But I actually thought this was a lot of fun. One of the things I'm working on in sections like this is just not letting the front tire find a bump or a divot to bounce in. Just trying to keep everything smooth and keep my momentum up. I've also gotten out of the habit of putting my inside foot down on every single turn too, which is good. I think it slows you down a little. And it can get caught on things too, so just totally getting out of that habit. Watch this root here, it's just so exposed. Just gotta power over it. Alright, we're coming up on a part here in a few seconds where I do make another mistake, and this is pretty much a fatal one. Oh, the trail looks like it goes straight, but it doesn't. This is totally my fault. Not only did I do this in practice, but the guys where I parked told me about this. They said, Chris, watch out for this part where you go down in the creek and it looks like you go straight, but you don't. There's tape there, there's woods there, there's tree branches there, and I still screwed it up. I'm so mad I let 4 guys by there. And I know at least 2 of them were in my class. I was in 4th place. I think that pushed me back to like 7th right there. At least 7th, because I think one of those guys was in 40C. But it's hard to see on the camera because with the chest mount, it's not exactly pointed right at them. That was just like a gut punch. Oh man, I was doing so well. I think this lap was about 15 minutes, and the guys who were on the podium did it in about 13 minutes. So I had the one fall on that tree that was across the trail. I had the little mishap that you just saw in the creek. There was this little one where I let another guy in my class by, and I think I had one more mishap somewhere else. I can't remember where. But even with those three, that's like a total of a minute right there. I should be a lot closer to these guys rather than sitting 2 minutes behind the top three. Anyway, I'm not complaining. I walked away from this race totally happy with the way I rode, and just getting that great start, being out front for 3 minutes. Actually, I was in second place for 3 minutes, and then getting to lead for about 20 seconds. That was just totally fun. So I'm letting these 40C guys by. I know Leland rides a 450. He's on that Kawasaki right in front of me, and I heard that 450 behind me, so I just slowed up to let him by. The one thing you don't want to do in this position, if you've already screwed up your own race, is screw up somebody else's race. And now I'm not necessarily battling against these guys anymore, I'm battling against myself. So as you heard in my intro, the last race was not good. My heart rate spiked so high, and I felt like heat exhaustion was coming on. I had to just drop out on lap 3, and I hate doing that. I always want to finish. And I'm on this 2-stroke, which is actually a lot more forgiving in the woods. It's not as tiring to ride. And I really just want to complete all 4 laps. As you'll see, if you watch the whole video, I actually have to do 5 laps. I wouldn't say the dust was so bad that I couldn't see anything here. You can still see the trails. It makes it a little harder to see where the ruts start, but I'll find this little pro line here. I'm not sure how much time that's saving. All right, we're coming up on the hard line again. John's gonna yell at me to take the hard line, but he's definitely yelling at me. I don't think the mic picked it up, but I feel like I got through that thing really sketchy during practice and a little bit sketchy on lap 1. Just counting my blessings, not injured, and I'm kind of in the back of the pack now, so I'm just gonna take this easy line around. The only way I'm gonna pass people now is if they drop out of the race. So it doesn't really matter if I take the hard line or not. Like, yeah, I'm gaining 30, 45 seconds on people, but I'm not gonna pass anybody doing that. And the chance that I'm gonna injure myself, probably 30%. Like, if you see videos of all the sea riders who go up that thing all day and during practice, it's about 25 to 30% of the people don't even make it up the hill. All right, we're gonna get to open it up again here. This is the line that Brandon took on line 1, went to the outside. Get up on those pegs and just let it fly. And blow through the corner. Yeah, that front end just wants to push on that sandy corner, and of course I'm not seated as far up on the tank as I should be. I practice that all the time, coming into a seated position up on the tank, but when you get in a race, legs get so tired so quickly that when I sit down for a corner, I don't sit up as far as I should. did it a lot better that time. Nice. Notice how I was standing through that whole section too. I do really like the feel of this lighter bike underneath you while you're standing. They must have different centers of gravity, my 250F and this bike, because this one just feels a lot lighter. Up into third, but I should be pinning it there. Like, I should be way more aggressive on that straight. Yeah, that looks like a 50B rider or maybe a 60A rider, and I should have told him I was there, like different class or something, but completely forgot to, and I just kind of cut in front of him. Still not overly confident in the sand, but I'm getting better. See if I can get a little bit farther on this road jump this time. Oh yeah, I did. I held the throttle open a little bit longer that time. I'm trying to get the bike to turn, but I'm heading right towards that guy. This was so much fun. Like, I think it was like only 91 out today, or this day, and as long as you were moving, it felt fun. I do have to say those 4-strokes did not have a problem catching me and passing me in this section, even though I'm trying to hang it out. Yeah, there's just a couple of those corners where you gotta stay on the throttle hard on the lean, and I am just not fully confident that the bike's gonna hold, so I end up letting off the throttle. I can see the gap increasing like on those corners. Well, I did this corner a lot better than the last lap. That's the corner where I let 2 guys by. Yeah, just pulled over there to let another guy by. Heard him right behind me. What I really should do is do a course like this with both bikes. Probably like 2 or 3 laps per bike, and no falls, and just see really which one I'm faster on. Because this race series is probably like 80% single track and maybe 10 to 15% open. I know those don't add up correctly, but it's mostly single track like this where it's hard to pass. And this bike is so much fun. And then the other series that we race is the opposite of that, where it's like 80% double track and maybe 15 to 20% single track. And I feel like the 4-stroke just does so well on those types of setups where you need to come out of a tight corner and accelerate quickly to the next corner. But yeah, it would be a really interesting comparison to ride both bikes and see which one I'm actually faster on. Now, probably the correct answer is I'm not fast on either of them, but it would just be fun. It would be a fun day of riding. I talked to Gil, who runs this series after this race, and just congratulated him on such an awesome setup. I thought it was flowy. It was fast. Like, you know, you kept moving. We did luck out. There was a little bit of wind out there that cleared the dust up pretty quickly. It made it where it wasn't impossible to see. And for the conditions that he was given, like not a lot of rain in the last couple months, he really laid out this course that was absolutely so much fun to ride. And so we just had a good conversation afterwards on how it went, how much fun it was to ride. Because last year was a completely different story. Last year it was definitely not as much fun. And I kind of like swore this place off afterwards last year. Like, I'm never coming back there. And then I saw it rained a little bit the week before, and I was like, maybe it'll be better. And then I remember Gil saying last year, like, yeah, I kind of messed up on that one. Sorry, guys, won't do it again. And I was like, okay, well, you know, let's give it a second chance. I bet you the course will be set up a little bit differently this year. And I'm really glad I came out, because it was set up differently. And, well, Chris, you stalled it. Well, that's better than lap 1, though, because lap 1 I completely butchered it. I only half butchered it there. I think turnout was a little bit low. Like if I don't have any official numbers or anything, but if I was just looking at number of cars or trucks and RVs in the parking lot, I think turnout was a little bit lower. I don't know by what percentage, but yeah, I saw quite a few classes only had like 3 or 4 people in them. He's telling me to stay left. I don't know why. I guess that guy? No reason to get mad there. Not like I'm fighting for anything. But yeah, so the course was fun and had a great time hanging out with people and just coming out here and riding dirt bikes. That was absolutely fun. I know I need to get better in these conditions because we ride in these conditions a lot, where it gets like sandy and ruddy. We don't ride in loose rocks a lot, I'll tell you that. But I do need to continuously improve in these types of conditions. And I have improved a lot. Like my first sand race was back in 2022 and I fell 15 times in that race and it was atrocious. I was completely exhausted. I had to stop halfway through the race just to like a 15-minute break so I didn't die. Not literally die, but like, oh my god, I was so wiped out. Yeah, I'm getting a little confident putting the throttle on in that sand just to stand the bike back up. So I saw there was these people cheering for this person coming from behind me. I didn't hear a bike, but I was like, oh, there must be somebody coming behind me. And I slowed down, and I think she's in the lead in Women's A, and she passed me right there. Women's A is usually pretty competitive. They're usually like all three of the top women are like within like 20 seconds of each other, so I didn't want to hold anybody up. So at this point, I'm thinking, okay, 2 laps down, half the race is over. Let's just make these last 2 laps count. We're definitely not quitting. We're gonna finish this thing, and we're gonna do awesome.
Oh shit.
I was like, oh shit, I hope I don't get a tree stuck in the radiator or the shroud or something. Like, oh my god. Because that's happened to me before. Sometimes your front wheel just gets put in a position where you can't turn the way you want to turn. And you gotta go with it. I don't know what else to say about that. Alright, we're coming up to the hard easy split again. John's going to be yelling at me even harder this time to take the hard line. It doesn't pick up on the audio, but it's still there. Trying to get me to hit the hard line. I'll tell you one thing that's nice about this bike is because there's not as much torque being put to the rear wheel, you can feel a lot more confident giving it more throttle on corner exit. Because on my 250F, you just feel like the rear end's gonna break loose all the time. And so I get a little bit skittish on giving it a lot of throttle coming out of those corners. Well, I get a lot skittish.
That's a tricky section.
But on this bike, I just don't feel like I was having to worry about that all day. Oh, up into 4th again. Standing up. Taking those bumps. Let's see if we can corner this one a little bit better this time. Little better. Still left the inside way open. One thing I am getting better though is avoiding some of those whoops through sections like that. Like right in the entry to the woods, there was like 3 whoops, but if you stayed over to the left, you could avoid them all. Alright, we're back into this section again. This is the section that has that diagonal tree laying down. One thing that I did have to get used to is the clutch position on this bike is way different. Oh yeah, there we go. That was better. Almost splattered myself into that tree, but I landed it fine. Yeah, the clutch position on this bike is way more towards, like, away from the handlebar, like where the clutch engages and disengages. And on my bike, it's way closer to your fingers. So when I was doing the practice lap, and even the first lap or two, I was constantly over revving the bike because I was used to this clutch position where the clutch would be disengaged and I would be able to put power to the wheel, but it wasn't like that.
I nailed that rut. Yeah!
That was funny. Sometimes I'm my own biggest cheerleader on the course. Like if I nail a rut or if I like have great braking going into a corner, I just get like I start cheering for myself. I always gotta thank the photogs for being out there taking pictures. They're just sitting out there in the sun or the shade, just snapping away, and sometimes it can be miserable for them, but I definitely am appreciative. One thing that I was worried about was the suspension, because I know the stock suspension on this is set up usually like for 150 to 160 pound rider, a little bit heavier than that. I didn't have any problems with it all day. One thing I should have done though was set the sag correctly. That's one thing I forgot to do. All these turns gave you a little bit of berm to right up against. Kind of wondered like how much is this berm gonna hold, because it's only like a few inches tall, but they seem to hold up for me pretty well all day. I think each time I come through this section I'm able to execute a little bit faster on it. The next thing I really have to do is knock this blipping habit I have out of me.
Oh, I almost went over the berm there. Shit. Careful.
Because blipping on this bike
You're
doesn't...
not watching the corner.
It's inconsequential almost, but blipping on my 4-stroke is really just something that destroys your entire corner. And when I used to ride a carbureted bike, oh, Chris.
Damn, my back tire hit that.
Oh, there was a little root between two trees.
Sorry.
She said it's okay. Oh man, that was funny. Now I gotta find a place to let her by, because she obviously caught me. It's faster than me. Yeah, that was just a stupid fall. Like, I avoided that. It was kind of a knobby route, but I avoided it with my front tire, and then my rear tire hit it, deflected, and then sent me over. It'd be nice if there were more places to pull over where you didn't have to stop, but it's kind of tight out here. So yeah, as I was saying, next habit I gotta get out of is not flipping the throttle. When I get on the throttle after braking, I have to hold it. And it's not as much of a problem on this bike, because if you crack the throttle, the bike is not gonna like try to take off from under you. But on the 4-stroke, I really feel like even just cracking the throttle, the bike wants to accelerate hard, and And sometimes when you're going around a tight corner or in the woods, you don't necessarily want to accelerate hard. You just want to not decelerate. Like you want to hold your momentum. I don't know what I'm doing out here, but that was really ugly. Yeah, so you just want to hold your momentum, and there's on my 4-stroke, there's really no throttle position.
It's a lot less sketchy if I do it faster.
Where you can say, oh, I just want to hold my momentum and maintain this pace. And so what ends up happening is you crack the throttle, the bike accelerates, and then you're like,
I killed myself there. I grabbed some front brake.
oh shit, I'm going too fast for this corner or this section in the woods. Let me let off the throttle. And then when you let off the throttle,
You okay? Okay.
your bike lurches forward or the front suspension compresses, which is really bad on the sand. And then you're like, no, I don't want to do that. So you blip back on the throttle, and it becomes this endless cycle of blipping. And I really just need to knock myself out of that habit. One thing I have to do is... Oh, fuck, Chris. It was the first time I took that inside rut, and I screwed it up. Now I'm on a hill. Control your breathing. Yeah, you can hear my breath here is just laboring. So back to that blipping, yeah, one thing that I've always been a little bit afraid to do is lean the bike a lot in corners. Just not confident that the bike's gonna hold, especially in flat corners. And so I really just need to get better at not flipping the throttle and leaning the bike more. Tighter the corner, more I need to lean. But no one wants to low slide their bike, right? Like, that's not fun. You don't ever want to go into a corner thinking, oh, I'm going to low slide the bike. But how else do you go and find out where that line is? So always have struggled with that. I think the blipping will continue to be a problem until I really fix that. Alright, so that's 3 laps down. There's no yellow flag out, which normally there's a yellow flag out. So I'm looking around. Are we done? What's going on here? I turn around. I have no idea what's going on. Like, I don't see a checkered or a yellow flag. And I'm thinking, okay, that was only 3 laps, so I definitely probably have to do a 4th lap. And then I'll find out, oh, I have to do a 5th lap. One thing that was really nice, though, is I was feeling fine. Even though I've gone down a couple times, had to pick my bike up. The workouts that I've been putting in and all the riding that I've been doing has really been paying off. I feel like, oh, I can do a 4th lap, no problem. The 5th one, I was a little bit surprised that I had to do a 5th lap, so that was tough. Oh, I had such trouble with that thing all day. Oh, it's so frustrating. If If it was square, it would have been so much easier, but it wasn't square. And of course I can't wheelie because I just have been either too afraid or haven't had time to go practice wheelies. So it's just not being able to pick up that front end really hurts in situations like that. And on courses where you have like rain gullies or rain ruts or dips in the course, can't wheelie over those either. So it's just really hurting me not being able to compress that front suspension and use the throttle and clutch to lurch over and stuff like that.
I nailed that bitch again. Well, not exactly at the end, but it was fun.
Here I am cheerleading for myself again.
Tire started coming out at the end.
I don't know what that was. Just thought I'd do some horticulture and inspections over there to the right. But then I see Andrew on that straight and I'm like, Chris, get your ass off the seat into a really good looking attack position right now. And so I did it. Hopefully that picture comes out good. Oh, and more bushwhacking. I tell you, I think I hit that bush almost every single lap. Tried to stay in the rut, but that front tire just went right over the top of it.
That was a whole lot of fun. I'm glad I went up to 30C, so I gotta look back at the video to see where the flags are. I was really close to the hole shot. I might have got passed. I got passed in turn 1, but I came back. I gotta go see where the flags are. I don't know if I'm gonna do any more 30C races, but had fun racing with those guys, and I led for like like a couple seconds right in the first lap. The guy who was in the lead went up that easy route and I went up the hard route, and then I passed him, and then 2 turns later I got passed, and then out in that field I got passed by a whole bunch of other people. So November's coming up. I think we're gonna look at maybe doing an enduro. Probably not gonna do the Gutbuster 24-hour challenge, but we are looking to have some fun, and I enjoyed riding on this 2-stroke. Maybe I'll get a 300 someday, but right now I'm still on the 250F. Thanks for watching. Bye.